hello everyone. I am Jordan Shabbat of the Bar Talk Podcast, presented by Inebriart, along with my counterpart here, my co-host Carl Heine.
Hello everybody.
We are joined again by Tatum Stewart and Heather Casey. And we did a great podcast before about women in business, and it got us talking about our balancing of our schedules. And this episode is going to be themed on work versus our personal lives and balancing those things, which is something everyone balances on a day-to-day basis if you're employed. And if you're not, then it's how much video games do you play to not playing video games. But the restaurant industry, and the retail industry, and the beer industry, beverage industry, food industry, whatever you want to call it, it's all it's a demanding sort of not a 9-to-5 situation. So we thought it'd be kind of a cool insight while we had four of us at a table here to see how basically we figure out to do so. At least we thought it would be interesting. On how to balance work and personal life. One of you might find this okay. Work and personal life. So basically the theme here is the restaurant industry is a vagrant industry. Employees come and go constantly, which you've known through the first three episodes. This will be episode 4. First three episodes of the show. The basic common theme is, we're constantly going through staff. We have all different varieties of clientele. You get called at this point of the night. You're open until 2 a.m. You're back at the shop at 6. It's a crazy. Why the hell would anyone do this? and a lot of people might think that. A lot of people might think they, from watching the Food Network, they can just open up their own goddamn restaurant anytime they want. That's also why we're doing this. No.
It's fun.
Yeah,
it's fun.
There's no brew your own restaurant kit you can buy on Amazon. Sorry, guys. But
next business.
But I'm surrounded by 3 really, really hardworking people here that are in the trenches every single day in their businesses. You very rarely walk in and not find them. But let me tell you, when you're not there, they hear about it. So Tatum and I were just talking. Tatum Stewart of the Craft Beer Cellar. Something we battle with, her and I were neighbors on Main Street in Plymouth, is when you're not in your place of business and sort of the disappointment and backlash you get from your millions of fans when you're not. Tatum, you want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's been like a new theme. I've been picking up a lot of night work, at the store because a lot of my employees are on vacation. Right. So I've been working early morning, going home, coming back and working till late night. And I'll have one customer that will say, "Oh, did you walk away from the business? I haven't seen you the last 2 times I came in." I was like, "Well, yeah, no, I've been in the basement since 7 this morning doing invoices. And, now it's 10 o'clock at night." Like, it's a very interesting, customers really just want that one person, and they're offended if you're not there when they're there. Right. Sometimes I feel like I want to drive to their work at like 8 o'clock at night and take a picture and be like, "Where are you?"
Right.
I was here and you weren't.
Empty office chair.
Or maybe you flip it around and be like, "I've been here every week in the afternoon. Where have you been?"
Right. Waiting on you.
Yeah, I haven't seen you around either.
Yeah, so it's definitely become more noticeable to me as I'm actually working more hours, but they may be varied.
Right.
And Heather was actually in the store once when a customer came in and was like, "Oh, where you been? You've been taking a lot of time off?" I'm like, "No, everything hurts and I'm tired. What are you talking about?"
Meanwhile, I can't hang out with her because she's working 3 or 4 doubles a week. And I'm like, what? I just came to visit her so I could see her.
like she's cheating on you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it does prove that in the hospitality business that people really do.
They notice.
Look.
Oh
for
yeah,
you.
they absolutely do.
They look for you.
Absolutely.
And when we schedule shifts here at the New World Tavern, we keep it on a hard schedule. We don't mix and match. We don't, the person that works on Tuesday works on Tuesdays. The person that works on Saturdays works on Saturdays. Because when people come in, they want to go in to see that particular person, and they might not care about your restaurant, but they might really like that bartender or really like that server and say, "Hey, let's go visit so-and-so because I think she's working tonight. Let's go down and have a beer with her even though she's working."
Right.
It really goes to show in the hospitality industry that if you're good at what you do and you're a people person, people will seek you out.
And isn't that why we do it?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
it is the people. I mean, obviously that's like the easiest thing to go to with the frustrations because we are in the people business, but I don't know that I could walk into a fucking cubicle every single day and stare at the same foam walls.
No.
I mean, this is why we do this.
Punch a clock. I mean, oh my God.
Right. And that's basically the theme of this is it's not just balancing the work and personal life, but why? Why do you do it in such a sporadic schedule?
Well, let's turn that around.
Right.
We said we couldn't work in a cubicle that a lot of people do work in.
They do.
And most of those people would say, I could never bartend and deal with this drunk and that drunk and this person and that person. This person's got a big personality and, this person's trying to buy, but they're, they don't have a license
Or
on them. They
double
don't have an ID.
shifts or late hours.
Double shifts or, I work for $3 an hour and there was a snowstorm and nobody came in. I worked for free that day. So there's a lot to say about people that don't work in the industry, don't want to work in the industry.
Right.
And the people that work in the industry would never leave it.
Right.
There is
That's true.
there is some loyalty to it, as vagrant as it can be, and the lack of loyalty we have with some of our employees in this industry.
Yep.
It can also be, it's all I know. I mean, I personally, I got my first job at 15 in a restaurant. Everything I did in school, including college, from then on out was to get out of it. Because I felt like it was not all this can be.
And
like,
it's
this
the
is an
same-
employed life.
Right.
Like, I shouldn't have to work every holiday. I shouldn't have to do this. I'm watching everybody else, like, older, younger, my generation, like, get these 9-to-5 jobs. I'm like, all right, I should be able to spoil myself. But I could never escape it. I dropped out of college to stay in the restaurant industry because everything but was boring to me.
Yeah, it was the same way. So I worked all through late high school, all through college, then after college, either banquet manager, anywhere in the industry. I went to school, got a bunch of degrees, and I ended up getting called in to work an event. They were really short-handed. And I said to my mom, why did I ever leave this industry? Like, why did I get all these fancy degrees that cost me so much money when I've always just loved the industry? And I used to kid around when I got my master's, like, I could just go back to bartending. Like, I don't need to do this.
Right.
And it wasn't until I got called in to help out with an event that I was like, no, I'm done. Like, I'm done playing this. I want to go back to the industry.
Absolutely.
It's the hours, it's the energy, it's the
Yeah.
personality, it's the story. I mean, I have 100 stories of things that have happened that you could never
You can't make up.
guess. I mean, I went to art school and then I grew up like following the rock scene in Boston. I worked at a bank. I was bored out of my mind, Then I was like, all right, well, I'll waitress, And so it still afforded me to get out at like 11 and then I could hit up the rock clubs afterwards. Then I went into theater, and then I'm working at, till 1 in the morning. And then hanging out, till 3 in the morning with the cast or whatever. Like, those characters are so much more exciting to me. And those are the people that come into the bar. I mean, you're talking to people that may be from out of town, that may be from in town, but everybody's got a story and it's all interesting. And maybe those guys are escaping their 9-to-5 job for an hour and they just, want a distraction or whatever. But it definitely takes a certain type of personality to work in this business, for sure. And my husband and I have always said, the alternative is working for somebody else,
Right.
and that's just not a viable alternative for us.
Very true. I would agree with you 100%. I think the word you said, I said it twice or 3 times, is personality. Mm-hmm. You can't survive in this industry without, it's from both sides of the fence. You need to be a personality.
Right.
You need to manage personalities, and you need to deal with personalities coming in. People with no personality don't go to restaurants. People with no personality don't work at restaurants, or they shouldn't, unless you're burying them in a dish pit or something. Even then, some of the coolest people I've ever met have been fucking dishwashers. And people that own hospitality or retail
they're always
businesses,
big.
they got personality. You need to carry your weight.
And they generally have another interest, like they're artists, they're musicians, like
Correct.
there's something else besides the
Hawaiian
billions
shirt
of hours.
Hawaiian.
They work, 60 hours a week in a restaurant, and they still have the time and energy to focus on what really drives them in life. And
Right.
this job is a means to an end. Very rarely do you make a living being an artist or a musician or a writer, a poet, or whatever. But those tend to be the people that we see in this industry, and they are so interesting.
Yeah, and it's interesting too. So when I got my bachelor's degree, I was working as a therapist, and they said, "Oh, you need to get your master's degree." I enrolled in school, and pretty much everything I learned through my master's degree was things that I already knew bartending, but I had to pay somebody else a lot of money to give me a piece of paper. And I used to say that all the time. I'd get these A's on my paper, and the professor would be like, "Oh, that's so intuitive." I'm like, "No, I bartended. Like, it's not freaking rocket science. Like, It's really not that difficult. I really say people are like, I'm going to study psychology. I'm like, all right, or you could bartend for a year.
Yeah.
And make some money and not go into debt. Like this is the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What about you, Carl?
Well, I think that nobody goes into a bar for a drink because they want to be alone.
No.
That's true.
If they wanted to be alone, they would have stayed home.
Yep.
Right.
And they want that interaction with the bartender or the server or the other customers. When I was working in Brooklyn, New York, there was a lot of bars down there that craft beer bars that you could go into. A lot of them didn't have TVs.
That's the best.
And it forced you to have a conversation with the guy next to you, whether you liked that person or not. But because there was nothing else there to capture your attention. And a lot of people moved away after a while. When I talked to them, they'd moved down the other end of the bar. But
understandable.
I've been pushing to not offer Wi-Fi.
Still going.
In our
Nothing's changed.
It was because I just want people to
pre-Hawaiian
talk to
shirt.
each other.
I told him, hey, I'm really funny. You want to talk to me?
Hawaiian shirt on. You get a Hawaiian shirt onesie.
Yes.
But no, like I say, the customers that come in don't come into your restaurant because they want to be alone.
Right.
Yeah.
The one thing, or the last thing I think that is missing from the hospitality group, and I think Jim actually said this to me, was it's the hospitality side of it. Everybody's got craft beer, everybody's got good food, everybody's got something.
It is the hospitality.
What is going to drive your customers to come to your place?
Absolutely. And it's personality
It's
and
the personality and hospitality that you're going to
Sometimes
get.
it's so small as offering me a clean fork in between courses. Like, it's a huge deal. Like, it's really notable to me.
Like, we get feedback from our customers. We know their names. We know when they just closed on their house, when their kids' soccer season
You know when their favorite beer comes in and you text them.
Exactly.
You take texts.
Right.
She's coming in her pajamas to sell beer. I mean, that's a personal touch.
But when you see customers that you haven't seen in a while, and you say, "Where have you been?" and they apologize,
Exactly.
"I'm sorry, I haven't been around." That's the customers. That's what they're looking for.
Absolutely. And what always strikes me, and it's so different from my past careers, people come in and they spend money, and sometimes they spend a lot more money than they intend because they see so many great things, and they say thank you. And I feel like you're thanking me for taking your money.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just such a cool concept that people come in and they're so happy and appreciative, and I just love when people are like, oh, thank you.
Right.
Well, no, thank you. Like, I'm thanking you. And they're like, no, I'm thanking you.
It's funny. I started this by kind of knocking that sort of that predetermined sort of 9-to-5 corporate cliche job. Some of those people that are in those situations where it's working for them, they're making good money, they're happy with it. They don't like the tests that maybe we get every day. That's not there. But what they're looking forward to all day is going to Tatum and having her pick out a 6-pack, or going to Blue-Eyed, getting a nice rum drink with the 2 cherries and an umbrella, or going to Carl and getting forced to move down 5 bar stools because some creep is near him talking too much, or going to Speedwell. But and that's the thing, that it's maybe as we all sit here and kind of reflect and positively, we don't really we don't have the second to maybe stop and smell the roses and realize that that's actually what's happening. And that's really why we continue to stay doing this. It's easy for us to sort of be like, well, why the hell is this person complaining that their mashed potatoes not mashed enough, or yada, yada, yada. But at the end of the day, like, that's like those freaking mashed potatoes are the most important part of that person's day. It's pretty wild when you think about it. That things that we see every single day are something that someone's looking forward to. Maybe they go out once a week, all week. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I have a set of customers. They're very nice. They're awesome, but they'll call to make sure I'm on before they come in because they just want to hang out and talk.
I get the same thing. People will call and say, "Is Kyle there?" They'll say no, and then they come in.
It's part of your charming personality, dear.
I will say some of our very good friends started out as customers, and we and now we hang out with them on Memorial Day weekend or whatever. I mean, you don't know what you're every day what it's going to bring you.
Right.
And I don't think I would get that in a cubicle.
I agree.
I mean, you got work friends, but I feel like I've been in a cubicle. I'm work friends because that's all I've got. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not the thing that we have in common is that we work together, and when you work in this kind of industry, you're open to so many people, and you can find people that you have things in common with that might not be just beer or Caribbean food or whatever. Like, you might find out that, you love golf together or football together or whatever, and then the next thing you know, you're going to a football game together, you're on the course together or whatever, and it definitely opens you up to a lot more things. And I think the whole conversation is the work personal life balance, and it's hard to have in this kind of industry because
which two are which. Right. It's all the same.
I think that's kind of the theme we're sort of gearing in here, is where we started, where it was sort of a separation of the two. It's sort of a realization that they're both the same thing.
Right.
And that's not a bad thing.
That's not a bad thing.
But it's not for everyone, for sure.
If I go to work and my friends come in and buy lunch and I get to hang out with them for 45 minutes, that's a win for me.
And they're paying you to hang out.
Essentially, yes. But they have to eat, right? They have to eat. And I don't have a lot of time to spend with everybody that I love. So if they're coming in and I'm working, then yay, then I get 45 minutes with this person, and they're buying lunch, but they were going to buy lunch somewhere anyway. Right. So,
but it's the hey, I'm at your restaurant, I'm at your bar, it's 9:00 at night, where are you?
And then I'll be right there.
Why don't you come down? Let's go. And you I think sometimes the people that come in forget that you have a life outside of this place.
Correct. Yep. Which is the original thing we sort of started with. Was
and then that comes down to cell phones and texting and Facebook, and then everybody's should be immediately available. And
absolutely.
You become sort of, because like you said, Heather, everything's sort of instant on Facebook and social media, Twitter, Instagram, yada, yada, yada. That you become sort of not a personality, but almost like a talking head, where they associate your face with that establishment that they've fallen so much love with, and it's not complete to them if you're not there.
That's correct.
Right.
So you should be readily available and instant, just like when they look up something online, when they Google something, you should be there. And that's the frustrating part from our point of view is, we want to be there all the time, but we have to pick and choose where we can use our energy. For you to be able to sit down and have that meal, I had to be in at 6 a.m, made sure I opened up the door for the Cisco guy, put the order away, made sure the guys had the recipes for the specials that night, etc. Make sure the beer menu was accurate, so you could get to that meal even faster.
Yeah, and you started work at 9, you were done at 5, and now you're there at 7. You're wondering why you're not there.
Right.
And you've been working since.
But you're a millionaire. You want a restaurant.
You are a millionaire.
That's right.
We're all independently wealthy.
I'll say we opened the restaurant. We lived in Boston. We opened the restaurant probably around year 7. Jim, the first 7 years we had a young daughter. I was a single mother. That's what it felt like for a really long time. I mean, his priority was the restaurant, as it should have been. About year 7, he started taking time off, and then we started getting these comments saying, it's not the same when you're not there. It's not as good when you're not there. And I know for a fact that's not true. I know my staff does exactly the same thing whether he's there, and I know it. I've been there. I know it. But to get that and that guilt trip, and then to put that on, he's like, he just wants to spend some time with his 5-year-old daughter,
That's exactly it.
And it's like, it's not as good when you're not there. I'm like, what do you want from us? Like, we're selling pot.
But I think some people say that and they mean it as a compliment.
Yeah, and maybe so.
They realize they're hurting you.
But it doesn't come across.
Collateral damage.
These messages were not that. They were, when are you there? It's you open another restaurant, then we open another. Well, it's not. Now that you're not there all the time, it's not that good. And it's just like, forgive us for trying to expand. And if you can give me something specific, maybe I can fix it. But the general, it's just not as good when you're not there. Just means you miss seeing him. And if you had just said, we miss seeing you, when are you there so we can come in and see you? That might have been a little different.
Yeah, and that's the same thing. When I do my schedule, my floor time, I'm about 57 hours a week just as a salesperson on the floor. It doesn't include everything else.
Which is more than enough.
Right. So, you add another 20, 25 on there. When people say, we only want to be, we only want to come in when you're here. Well, great, there's 57 hours. Pick one, I would love to be here too, but sometimes I'm hiding in downstairs paying the bills so we can keep the lights on.
I think the overall kind of sort of background theme here is we wish we could be there.
Exactly.
For you guys. You know what I mean? It's
I wish
this,
I could be two places at the same time all the time.
We wouldn't be sitting here talking about this if it wasn't weighing on us and sort of like...
Well, we're not there now, right?
Right.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Very true.
I am.
We are
But not
recording
really. You're
this
holed
at the
up
New
in the
World
back
Tavern.
room.
I'm
but no.
managing.
Just the fact...
In case you guys missed that, that's air quotes.
Just the fact, and specifically listening to you, Heather, just talk about this specific situation, or a couple of them, back to back, like, the amount of emotion that just went into that. It's like, it wasn't like a, go fuck yourself, I don't need to be there. It was like a, listen, I want to be there, but you have to understand why
I have a wife, a kid, a home, you know what I mean? A dog.
Right.
Like, you have other people.
She's got a dog. You
That
ever see
really...
her dog?
No.
Yeah, it's really cute.
He said it was
Roxy.
ugly.
It looks like it ran into like a door.
It's a French bulldog, people. They're adorable.
And Roxy is adorable.
I've run into a couple doors. I haven't.
I've seen better heads pop out of zippers.
Yeah, but isn't there nothing horrible than like you come off from a beautiful day with your like a random Sunday with your family and you open up an email that says, "We were there. It was
weren't."
just okay because
Yeah.
you weren't there." You know, I mean, that's horrible.
Right.
That's a horrible feeling.
Sure.
Or, and I love my parents to death,
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Fish.
but Sundays is my day off. And we have Irish music on Sundays, which my parents love. And they want me here every
Oh
Sunday
yes.
with them.
Yeah.
Then they
Because
want.
of Irish
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We're going to come down and listen to Irish music. Are you going to be there? You can't say no.
Right.
Nope. You can't.
So now on your only day off, you got to come and spend 3 hours
Yep.
at the place you didn't want to be because you got so much
Right.
other things to do. And
Right.
God forgive you if you say no to mom and dad. Holy shit.
Yeah, I know. I have the
He's
same.
only saying that
See,
'cause
if I get a-
they don't have Facebook. They don't even know how to use it. That's why
See
he's
if
saying
I
that.
get a Christmas
Yeah.
present this year, Mom. Oh, by the way, happy
would've-
anniversary today, 59 years.
Oh, very nice. That's huge.
Yeah, it's
Casey's
the same
Very
thing.
nice. Totally redeemed himself right there.
They're not. They don't have Facebook.
No, they
They're
don't have
listening
a
to
they don't, they don't,
podcasts.
yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna make
They
sure
don't
they
even
hear
have a
this.
pod to
You
listen
kidding
to
me?
They don't
Next
have
time I
pods.
see him, yeah, we did an entire episode about midgets. I'm gonna make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing though. My parents, having a big family reunion on the 16th. My mom tells me the other day, there's a family reunion one day and a Saturday. I'm like, well, I need to know. She tells me the 16th. I'm like, okay, well, I have an event from 2 to 3 in Pine Hills. Then I work 3:30 to close at the store. I'm like, I could come down for an early breakfast. I'm like, oh, well, we won't be up and ready. Okay, well, I don't, it is hard. People who
Countless
aren't...
weddings,
Yeah.
birthday parties, everything. We celebrated Christmas with my family. We can't do it on a Saturday. We can never do it on a Saturday. And they always have to come to me, and it has to be Sunday. And they all work day jobs on Monday. Like, it's a huge inconvenience.
Right.
And they do it for us. So then that's my family's sacrifice for me to run my own business.
Same thing with my parents. They're very good about certain holidays like Easter. Easter's my favorite holiday. It's always been a big deal in our family. Well, we're open Easter. It's not one of the holidays we have to be closed. So one year, we got stuck at a not so great restaurant just so we could all see each other after I closed the store.
But you're not going to give it up and go work for somebody else. So
Never, ever,
this is
ever.
what you do. And I think a big thank you to our families who put up with this crap because it's not a normal lifestyle.
It is not a normal lifestyle.
It's not.
I'm very lucky. All right, so it's kind of a weird way to predicate this, but I got married to a girl that I met while bartending, and the entire time we've been together, I've been a manager of a bar or GM or now
So it's all
owner.
she knows.
It's all she
don't
knows.
let her talk to anyone else to know that this
And
is
she
not
works in the
normal.
healthcare industry too, right?
Correct,
So she has
correct.
a weird schedule.
Absolutely. Well, hers is pretty... Yeah, you know what it is? Actually, now that I think about it, it is kind of weird. It is sort of like an every other weekend kind of thing, and she has to work every holiday. So it's sort of similar. And then so I don't have like a conventional upbringing, but I was adopted when I was 11. So 4 years later is when, as soon as I can get a work permit, I got it. I've been basically, my aunt and uncle or my adopted parents only know me as a guy that's worked in a restaurant. For only 4 years they had me, so that I didn't make holidays. So they don't even expect it of me anymore. They're just like, oh no, Jordan's a restaurant guy. He probably won't be there. And my brother,
That's sad, though. I mean,
I don't think so.
Well, I know that they accept it, and I get it, but I think the general customer expects to have Christmas with their family, Easter with their family,
right?
But they expect you to not, and that's sad.
Yeah, see, no, I think it's kind of a cool dynamic. So, like, I don't know.
So you don't have to be at any family event.
Exactly. I have an excuse no matter what.
Okay, listen.
If I want to be there, I can be there.
Shh, Mom, don't listen.
16, I am very busy. I feel guilty for missing weddings.
No, I miss a lot. I do.
Graduations. I feel really bad about it, and there's this.
But I'm gonna tell you right now, it's nice to have that little I'm a restaurant guy. You already know I can't be there thing in your back pocket.
Yeah.
I'm not
I get
gonna
that
lie.
too.
I exploit it.
too.
I exploit it
I'm
a
not
lot.
gonna lie.
You know what?
I
That's
do
the
too.
difference. We're women.
Yeah.
So that's the difference.
We're done with that episode. We're not using the women thing.
Throwing the gender
Don't
thing
make
out
me
again.
cry.
Here we go.
I like
Yeah, we gave you a whole hour to talk about that.
Carl, don't make me cry. I know you can't handle
Not to
it.
circle back to episode 3.
Oh, hey,
Nice
PS,
number drop
if you
there.
ever need anything, just cry.
Cry for a call.
But you say that, but I also think the opposite. Where I'll have one of my cousins call up and say, "Hey, listen, we're taking a bus into Plymouth and going on a pub crawl and bringing 30 people on a Saturday night." You can't say no.
Right.
Well, if you don't have if you can't, you can't.
Well, it's hard. It's
I'm
hard
just
to say
saying,
no.
if you're
because
booked,
they
you're
really
booked.
think that they're doing a great thing by giving
Bring
you all the
the
business.
True.
But yeah, it's when people show up and say, I get the text, "Where are you? We're having dinner. We thought you'd be here."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why did you think
They
I was going to
expect
be?
you
Yeah.
to be. Right.
So
Well, it's Saturday
that's
night.
right.
I mean, of
Saturday
course
night.
you'd be
It's
here.
11:00. How come you're not here?
Right.
Because I opened at 6
I've
o'clock in the
wondered
morning.
that too.
I have, sometimes I come around the windows like a sad puppy dog.
But it's tough. It's tough. And then if there is one of those things where, your college buddies all decide to come down and surprise you by coming to the bar and you're not there, then they text you and say, "Hey, where are you?" And then now you feel obligated to go again. And then you're missing out on that family stuff that you had to leave last minute because, oh, honey, I got to go drink
Right.
with the people that are at the bar because
And-
they're there to surprise me.
For me, it's hard. Like I've met customers at the store. Like we have some customers that only come in the summer. They're seasonal, and they'll send me a message like, "Hey, we'll be in town at such and such." I'm going to make a point to get there. But then I walk in, and I can't not just see that. Like I'm facing shelves, and I'm like, "Why isn't this done?" Or, "Hey, who's doing blah blah blah." It's hard to not be in work mind
Right.
and walk into a casual restaurant and hang out. I mean, the minute I walk in, the first thing I look at is, why isn't that bottle facing the right way?
Right.
You know?
Right. So you can't relax,
Right.
even when your family's
And
here
then
to visit
there's
you.
generally 50 other people that know you and want to talk to you
That's
in
right.
that venue too.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you got to give them a little time because
And there's 32 tabs that are just calling your name.
Right. Right. That
You gotta talk
happens.
to every one of those.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
You got to talk to every tab. Got to give them equal love.
I that's another thing I feel really guilty about personally is like when I do admit that I have a day off to my family or my wife and I spend that time with them, I get one text message that derails my attention.
Oh, God.
And that's it. And then the rest of the time you're checking your cameras, you're checking
Oh,
your
yeah,
sales, and you're on the
absolutely.
phone.
Yep.
Or, God forbid, a bad review that pops up on your phone.
That's a
and then you
week's
gotta,
worth of drama.
I was just here, and then you're calling your staff, like, what just happened? And then you're emailing the person back. You can't even, categorize that and be like, or compartmentalize it and be
Right.
like, I'm going to deal with this tomorrow. Because you
Right.
just got it instantly on your phone, and you feel like you need to deal with it
Exactly.
right away.
Well, same thing
because
with-
it's a reflection on you.
In social media and Facebook messages and the timing, the way that works.
Correct.
Even if you're off, my staff.
It's awful.
My staff are awesome, but they'll send me a text. I know you're trying to have a day off, and I don't want to bother you, but
Right.
Oh
And I'm
my
like,
God.
I'm
I mean,
not going to
Heather
do
knows,
it. I'm not taking the bait.
Heather and
I got so many
her
stories.
Jim is like, "Give me your phone. You're not checking the phone. Get off the phone."
Jim's just as bad though. Yeah.
But there's a light bulb out. What should I do?
Oh, we already
Yeah.
did the light bulb thing, Carl.
Sorry.
I
Not
can't even
doing
tell
the
you
light
it.
bulb thing. I feel bad about it, right? Because it was
We're
2
off.
employees that did it to me in the matter of 3 weeks.
We're off Figure it out yourself. If the house is on fire, call 911 and then call me.
But we don't
That's
say
the
that.
only time you call me.
But we don't say that. And
I say that all the time.
But we still look at our phones
That's
and we
because
still
you're the
respond.
mean one.
Because
No,
you know
I'm the
why?
good one. I'm the
that's right.
nice
You know
one.
why? You know why we look at our phones and we still respond and
Because we're responsible business owners.
not just that, we care about the people that are going to our place every single
I
day, and we
sleep
want to
on
make
his
sure they're not
phone
wasting
under
their
my
time and
pillow
money.
because I
Absolutely.
get 1 o'clock in the morning messages on Facebook from people who may have been at New World or Speedwell and have had a few.
No, it's awful.
And or like, hey, I really
course.
like that beer, so they message me at 1 in the morning. Do you?
Well, you gotta turn off your notifications
No,
between 10
because-
and 9.
I'm sorry, I
Because-
forward them all to you.
because you get hit with the message response time on Facebook, which affects your metrics and your
No,
views
no,
and
no, no, no. You don't take messages between 10 p.m. and 9 a.m. You
I do
don't.
all the time.
No, you don't. You
Yeah.
don't
I don't
need
take
to.
messages
That's
be-
unreasonable.
You're not
I only
going
take
to.
them
All right,
between 9
this
and
is
10
an excellent
a.m.
topic for
And then
work
we'll
balance.
go day drinking.
Yeah, but the
Go
problem
down
is
a
then you
pillory.
watch your metrics the next week, and I'm losing
It's
5
unfair.
Once a
They're
month,
messaging you
maybe,
at 1 in
if
the
we're
morning.
lucky.
You don't respond till
Look, you
10.
call our friend Mark at Facebook, and you let him know that this is what happens.
All these things, though, like these social media things and stuff like that
This
haunt our dreams,
I know,
also
it's-
make us really fucking
I know.
awesome at our job.
They do.
I know.
But I'll tell you, as soon as I get the notification that you just got a review, I can't not.
I don't
It's
look.
like I'm just like about to throw up. I'm like, please be good. Please
Well,
be
do you
good.
do this? This is my routine when I see you got a so-and-so checked in first is the
Yeah.
check-in, and then it's like 5 minutes later is the review.
review.
It's only been 5 minutes,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I put it aside.
Oh, I can't. I gotta know. Like everyone, stop talking. I gotta
Or-
read the review.
I love when it happens when I'm in the restaurant.
Yeah, have you
Yes,
ever gotten a
yes,
bad review when
yes.
you're in
Then
the
I'm
restaurant?
stalking the motherfucker.
No, yeah. Have you ever gotten a bad review when you're in the restaurant?
No,
And
but-
you look up their face and you're like, you walk around, what's the problem?
I would. That's exactly what I would do.
Yep. Found them at the fire pit giving us a 1-star review, like, service is slow, dip, 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 dip. And I look up their picture, I'm like, oh, really?
Dude, you got your appetizer 5
You
minutes
should have
after
waited till you
sat
got
down.
home, because now I'm going to confront you.
And that's great. I mean, isn't that... That's the idea of the whole thing. We've done an episode on Yelp before. We had Matt Hennessy, and we had...
Thankfully, Yelp's on its way out.
it has to be. It's a form of legal
Stop 'em.
extortion.
Yeah.
But we had Jimmy Agnew in here and Matt Hennessy in here along with Carl and I, and we were talking about this, and they don't want the face-to-face reaction.
No. If you
That's-
actually call them, they back right down.
That's
I
why
had
you
a
don't get it
guy-
when you're in the restaurant
And then I
or
think
in the
what
store.
I was saying
you know?
earlier
Yeah.
about that guy calling the other day and talking to Jim, and he's like, I'm going to tell my friends not to come. And when Jim challenged him and said, are you threatening me? He didn't. He's like, I'm not threatening you. And he's like, that's exactly what you're doing. You're threatening to trash my business.
Right.
When you say I'm going to tell all my friends how horrible you are, I don't think the consumer understands what that means to a business owner that is there at 6 a.m. in the morning trying to support their family and run their business. Like, it's not an off-the-cuff, comment. If you threaten to tell all of your friends, we take that to heart.
Absolutely.
And we believe that, and now we want to stop you from doing that.
Of course.
Right.
And we're angry about it because it's unfair.
It's mama bear mode, you know.
No, equate that.
The
so
two.
It's exactly.
If
You
the-
want to defend your
Right.
baby.
The 2 negative comments, and I wouldn't even say they're negative, but I got a 3-star on Google because, quote unquote, the store is small. Okay.
it's not that
What can
small.
you do?
Right, like, all
What are
right,
you gonna
well,
do?
that's the square
Right,
footage, and we
okay.
rotate beer and it's fresh. We don't stockpile it.
You
in
can't
a mega
change
truck.
Kind of a
Tomorrow.
good thing with a
Cool.
boutique. I mean, that's what I would
And the other one we
classify
got,
it as,
which
you
I
know.
really wanted to say something back, was when we first opened, somebody had given us, I think, like a 1 or 2 on Google as well, saying that a particular beer we had was way overpriced and they could get it at such and such place for cheaper. Well, it was a distributor who didn't distribute to their area, and their other distributor was cheaper. Like,
Right.
our distributor's not that cheap, you know? And
Right.
it's like I really wanted to get into, like, well, do you know how much they pay in this territory for it versus what we pay? Like,
Here's the
but that
beauty
was-
about that is they're from not your territory. You're never going to see
They're
them again
probably from
anyway.
New
But that
Hampshire.
was their whole entire.
probably from New
like,
Hampshire,
When
where
I
they
go to
go-
such and
Right.
such, I can
No
get
tax.
it for $2 cheaper.
Cool.
Well, guess what? It is $2
go
cheaper
there.
a case when they go there. Like, thank
go
you for
there.
that 2-star review.
Yeah.
How about you ask me, and I'll explain to you how distributors have different prices.
But we've talked about the negative I'll say negative aspects of owning a business and missing out on family life and events. But let's turn it around and talk about it positively. If I get a call from a school saying my kid's sick, I'm there in 5 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
If my son needs a ride home, or if he needs a ride here, or if there's a problem at night and I'm at the bar, I can be there in 5 minutes. On my regular 9-to-5 job,
You can't do that.
you're not going
Right.
to be able to do
It's
it.
true.
Correct.
Right.
So there is a lot of freedom that this job.
Oh,
Whenever I
absolutely.
call for an appointment for any, whether it's the doctors, the vets, Verizon, whatever, they're like, what's good for you? I'm like, my schedule's flexible. Like, that's
Right.
always,
Yeah.
Right.
I am flexible.
Right.
Super flexible.
Yeah, like even seeing one of my closest friends, she lives in Pennsylvania, and we try to get together a few times a year. And she's like, "What day works for you?" I'm like, "No, you tell me the day,
Yeah,
Right.
and I can
we'll
build my schedule around
it.
it."
Of course.
Which you can't do in a corporate gig.
Absolutely.
Nope.
Absolutely. If a couple dudes ask you to do a podcast to sit up and complain about your restaurants and beer store, you can work your way around it.
Why they
Right,
couldn't come
right.
at noon, I have no idea.
I have no idea.
Maybe they have
Hey,
a 9-to-5 job or something.
Yeah.
all the people canceled
Drawing.
today 5 minutes ahead of time, but luckily we had Heather Casey ready to go.
At the
That's
quick.
a shot right there. Challenge. You know who
Just
you are.
hanging out at the bar.
We
Ready
will
to
see
go.
you on Bar Talk eventually. You're gonna listen to this and you're gonna feel guilty.
I got you covered, babe.
But so there is a lot of free time. I don't want to say free time, but there is a lot of opportunity that
Flexibility.
You can,
Right, so,
flexibility.
I'm still going to work my 57, 60 hours on the floor, but I can pick and choose where those are.
Yep.
I tell you what, too, and going into the positives, and backtrack to when we were talking about personality. Think about the people you surround yourself with, and the
Oh, yeah.
opportunity you have to meet people.
Or you get to pick and choose.
You see,
Somebody's not working out. You're like, you know what? It's not working out.
it's not working out. I got plenty of exposure.
I don't fit
Right.
in
I
here.
think
Yeah.
to certain people that are close friends of mine because I grew up with them, not necessarily in the industry. They're either family or we were really young and we knew each other and we've kind of grown, in opposite directions. They took on a different profession. How hard it is for them to sort of organize things on them. Yeah, they have every weekend and holiday off. They got no one to hang out with.
Right.
Right? I know I'm going to go to work every day, and I have people who are like-minded, who have personality because you need one to be in this business. And I could sit around a table of four where we didn't have a subject to talk about 5 minutes before we started recording this thing.
Right.
And bang it out in an hour, no problem, without breaking a bead of sweat.
And think of it too. I mean, how many friends have we we've all made in the industry, and just in this little neighborhood. I mean, Carl tolerates me, but I pretend he's a friend.
I
You know what I
think
mean? Like,
Me too.
There's two people at this table right now I
We're
would consider friends.
We're friends.
you and
Heather.
You yourself.
The microphone.
You. Well, I'll say this. I have to work every New Year's Eve and every Christmas Eve. I go in. I really get excited about working Christmas Eve. We're open from 11:30 to 3. The only reason we're open is for last-minute gift card
cards.
sales, and we make a killing. But all of my friends come in for a drink. All these customers come in for and I get dressed nice. We hang out. Like, I see everybody I know.
Yep.
I'm done at 3. I'm still home in plenty of time to do the family thing. New Year's Eve, too. What are you going to do? I
Right.
mean, at our age, like, we're going to go out to somebody
We
else's
are
restaurant and
cougars
have
again.
dinner.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do? So we're open New Year's Eve. Kitchen closes at 10. We're generally even home before midnight. And if we're not, we go to another friend's bar and we ring in the new year and we go home. Like,
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
it gives you something to do. It's you have an inbred social life.
you
Like,
really do. I mean,
you-
that's the thing. Like people say,
You
like,
always have something to do. I'm never bored.
I'm never bored. I can
always have a
walk
party to
into
go to.
any place downtown and find friends.
If it's
Right.
not my own party that I'm hosting my own restaurant, my friends are hosting it somewhere
Right.
else. I always have something to do.
Yeah.
Correct.
Now, they say that it takes a particular personality to do what we do.
Crazy.
And I don't think that's true because of everybody, like you say, you walk up and down the street, there's so many different personalities that do the same thing that we do, but none of us are the same.
Let's fix that quote. Then it takes a personality, not a particular personality.
Well,
you
you
just
have
need to
to be-
have a
You
personality.
have to be a bit of an extrovert. You
There's
can't
no
be-
robots
yeah.
that are doing
You
this.
can't be
right
an
now.
introvert, and I mean, maybe you can. Maybe there's a successful introvert running a hospitality industry.
I'm not aware of
but
one.
I've never met one. I know some who think they are, but they're not. So
Right, maybe you've met their employees.
And I think we all have very strong personalities. Like, we're all very different and fun and exciting, but I think we all have very strong,
we don't
different
mince words.
Yeah, agreed.
Which could be a detriment.
And
Well, if you're a jerk and I have to tell you, it's a detriment.
I think it's
Tell me all the time, and I'm not a jerk.
Well,
I think a thick skin and a sense of humor are definitely
Thick skin, you gotta
requirements.
definitely have thick skin.
I have definitely learned that. I mean, I've become a much stronger person since I joined this industry.
Well, you acquire that thick skin, though. You don't.
You do.
I'm sorry, you don't have a personality like. At least when I'm talking with the three people that are sitting in front of me, you don't have a personality like that coming into it with thick skin.
I definitely did not.
You had to take your
I'm
bruises.
super
Right.
sensitive.
Right. Oh, we're sitting here talking. Like, and I'll go back to this. Like, the only reason why we're talking about it is because we care too. So there is, there's holes in our armor. You know what I mean? And that'll always be exposed at the end of the day because we are putting our heart and souls in this at the end of the day. And as if everyone else in their day-to-day lives, I mean, even if they are corporate or whatever. You're going to work every day. You're working hard, and if you're employed and you're doing your thing, you're putting a part of yourself into that. My argument is, I mean, where you're on front and center stage every single day,
Critiqued all the time.
critiqued all the time, and not to sound like a complaint because the point of this is it has its rewards. The flexibility, the exposure is very nice. We all go to each other's places and have a great time. Like. Yes, there is a lot of positives to it. We wouldn't be doing it if not. We're not sitting here trying to torture ourselves. But at the end of the day, like, yes, you gotta have thick skins, but you gotta know when to have your thick skin,
Right.
or at least pretend to have it.
Yes,
at least
pretend,
pretend
yeah.
to have it.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what I do more of. I think I'm very thin-skinned, but I do a good job of maybe pretending like it doesn't bother me. I might wake up at 4 a.m. in a cold sweat thinking about it, but I'm not going to tell anybody else about that.
Exactly.
Because everyone under me is going to be like, oh shit, Jordan's rattled. Like,
Right.
shit,
Right.
we should worry about this.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely. And that's totally a thing, especially in the hospitality pieces. If you can't convey, leadership and calmness to your staff, even when you know something's wrong, either it's financially, either it's front of the house, whatever it is, they're not going to treat the customer as well because they're concerned.
Right.
When you're rattled, they're rattled.
Perception is reality.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah, it all starts from the top, and if the rest of the friggin' foundation starts shaking, and I mean, that's,
Right.
You got to maintain that. And that's another pressure of the job is, and that goes, again, across all industries, not just restaurant. If the top of their pyramid's shaking and looking rattled, it'll fall. The rest of it will collapse pretty damn quick.
Even like for us, November, December are crazy, just crazy in there. I mean, sometimes
Yeah, I know. It's awesome.
it's crazy. In there.
Yeah, but you make it crazy too because you do so much promos and that's the thing. You are fearless. I will give you that. You are.
See, I think
you embrace it.
I'm an idiot.
No,
But
I
I'll take
disagree.
that.
That's what I was telling you.
I disagree, but
Yeah,
listen to Carl, I guess.
I don't know. We just do. You know what I mean? I'm like, 8 events in 2 days? Yeah,
She's
let's
3.
make it
She's
happen.
2.5 years
Right.
in. She's hustling. She's creating a buzz. She's doing exactly what she's supposed to do.
Exactly.
Right, but then at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm laying in bed doing
That's what you
cash
do.
flow analysis.
Yeah.
in my head,
Isn't this a
you know?
portion of the personality thing too? Like a personality flaw almost, but it's great for the business. Is
Yes.
that we all
Yes.
kind of like
If you
the
didn't-
pressure and
Yeah.
the
Absolutely.
punishment.
If
you
you
don't
were
thrive
at
in
3
it,
in the morning
what the
worrying
hell are we
about
gonna
it,
talk about?
There's a problem.
Right.
Right. What the hell do I have to talk about when I finally do admit to my family I have a day off? I have nothing to fucking talk about.
Right. Exactly.
At least I have some stories to say, hey, listen, I got called in at 4 a.m. because a toilet got plugged. You know
Right,
what I mean?
right.
By who the hell's in my
Or
restaurant
your
at 4
fire
a.m.
department showed up with a grease trap.
But that's Monday morning.
Yeah,
Thank
No,
you
it's
for
the
that
same
text,
thing.
by the way.
Yes,
Love you.
It's the same thing. Like I'll lay in bed and I'm like, I know I should be sleeping, so now I'm going to open my eyes. And in my head, it's like those whiteboard drawings of like, this is what sales were, this is what's going out, what's left, what's coming up, when is insurance due, when is workers' comp due. Like that's my 3 in the clock in the morning internal conversation.
Right.
Or who am I going to email to get that beer that I know that nobody's going to give me, but I have to have?
Do you ever wake up at 7 in the morning when you should without uninterrupted and be like, fuck, I missed something?
Yeah,
Because you didn't wake up at
definitely.
4 in the morning and plan your entire
Like the
next day?
anxiety, like you've forgotten
that's
something.
That's
what I do.
That's happened to me a few times, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, I'm hours off. Like, Yeah, because I start at 3, like what's coming in for deliveries? Who do I need to email to get this? Whose websites do I need to check for new beer? Whose blogs do I need to read for the beer business?
Right. You know what's fucked up about that? It's all about who's going to get a pint in front of them at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we're so worried. We're
so
deprivating our sleep.
You know, when people come in like, oh, you don't have such and such, and I'm just like, I've been up for hours. I've emailed the brewery. I've emailed the rep. I have it transferred from New York to Massachusetts to it's like, yes, it's coming. Don't worry.
But at the same time, that night, I'm till 1 a.m. fucking drinking Gloriouses by
So I think the consensus is there really isn't a formula for balance.
No, there's no balance. Your work becomes your
business
personal
is
life.
number one, and you kind of work your personal life around it.
Like, couldn't you just go to bed earlier and, like, you know,
No.
manage your time? No, that's not part of
that's
the deal.
That's not the gig.
It's
It's
not.
not.
the
I
deal.
don't think that's how our minds work.
Or when you're out the door and you say, all right, bye, honey, I got to go, I'm going to be late. And she says, "Ooh, you work for yourself. Who's going to yell at you if you're 5 minutes late?
Right.
Right.
You're the one that needs to get there to
Exactly.
make sure that everything gets
Exactly.
done for whatever you need to get done for.
And I got to make sure I get down. Never mind.
And maybe that's the difference, like particularly between you and I, is where Jim and I are in business together. So I understand that stuff needs to get done, and then it might get done. And not that I'm sure she understands, but I'm sure it's frustrating because you have a full staff that should be capable of doing that.
Correct.
But maybe what she doesn't understand is that they're not capable of doing that. You have to do it yourself.
Yeah, and that's the flip side. Like, being where I am in life is, you know, having friends outside the industry or thinking about establishing relationships outside of the industry is just not an option. Because people need to understand, you know, we had a tour show up that booked through a separate website on Saturday, and I got a panicky call of, there's 3 people here for a tour that we didn't know about. And, you know, I'm in my pajamas at home. Luckily, I'm right down the road, so I'm in the store in 7 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's what it is.
And that certainly happened to us.
Yeah.
Reservations just showed up that didn't get written in the book, and all of a sudden you're like throwing your shit together, and you're like, we'll be there at 5. Just seat them
throwing
anywhere.
a baseball cap on, trying to dig out a bra. I mean, these things
We'll work it
happen.
out when we get there.
If I had a dime for every time I forgot to put my bra on. All right, everybody. This has been episode 4 of the Bar Talk podcast. I want to thank you all for listening. Again, you can find us at Twitter at Bar Talk Cast, BAR, Bar Talk Cast, and Facebook. So we're going to do what we do for all of our podcasts here with Bar Talk is do last call. All our guests get a little bit of a second to talk about their business or whatever the hell they fucking feel like talking about. I am Jordan Shabbat once again. Today I want to talk about football season. Starts tomorrow.
So exciting! What are we doing?
And then the girls are so excited.
And it's great because it opens up on a Thursday. And for those of you listening that don't know anything about Speedwell Tavern, because if you don't know about this, you don't know anything about Speedwell Tavern. Beer and Burger Thursday, every Thursday at the Speedwell Tavern. $10, you get any draft beer and a half-pound certified Angus burger for only $10.
Why would
know
you
about
grocery
it.
shop that day?
I know about it.
Why?
Why not?
I mean, why would I grocery shop for that day?
Why not? $10.
IDK.
Yeah.
Food for one and a beer. Carl,
Yeah.
what's up? What do you got going on? Last call.
Carl from New World Tavern, come on down, have a drink, hang out with us, have something to eat, but just don't ask for me if I'm not here.
Carl's got a new,
Fair.
I have a cell phone number.
menu.
Yep, come on
Very
down,
fair.
check us out.
Yeah, check out their steak. It's amazing.
It is amazing.
And if you're
That was
looking for
very
Carl,
good.
text
Thank you,
me and
baby.
I'll text you his menu. Yeah, tube steak was yummy.
Jesus. Yes. You got through this entire
Yes,
personal life
thank you.
podcast, not worried about anything the wife was going to hear, and then we end with that.
You're welcome.
You
So
got to
if
do
you
it.
need some beer, to go with your tube steak.
I'd rather hurry up. Say something.
All right, I'll save the conversation.
Yep.
Heather Casey, Blue-Eyed Crab,
Come down
Water
and,
Street.
come on down and taste their fish.
Get some crabs.
Get some crabs.
Jesus Christ. Someone be an adult.
We actually don't sell crabs, just crab cakes.
The rest you have to catch yourself.
Don't worry, the toilet seats are very
That's
clean.
a t-shirt waiting to happen, dude. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Bar Talk Podcast. Again, at Bar Talk Cast, at Twitter and Facebook. Thank you very much for listening. See you next time.